That's what I was thinking, and it wouldn't, if it's not coming out.
Yeah.
It's 5:30. Yeah.
This isn't on yet.
Can you sign in? Are you able to sign in?
Me?
No one's able to sign in, Debbie.
Please wait until roll
It
is
says
called.
wait until roll is called.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we can start. Okay,
They're not
sorry.
working? Great.
The voting machines,
No, the voting machine is working, it's those on.
the monitor.
The monitors are not.
Williamson County Regional Planning Board is now called to order. We have the roll call, please.
All right, that's been
Okay,
done.
thank you. Staff announcements.
Yes, sir. I do have a few announcements this evening. First, we do have revised reports for a couple of items. Those are in front of you. Those are items 11 and 13. Secondly, 11 and 13. Secondly, Joe emailed you all recently with a training opportunity that's coming up. I think there's a printout of what that is in front of you as well, so I would encourage you to take advantage of that if you're able to. And then finally, we do have a request for a non-agenda item this evening. You may remember a few months ago, the Bonterra final plat was approved by this body. That hasn't been recorded yet, and so they have requested that that plat be reapproved with a different bond amount for the roads drainage and erosion control, and that's fine with staff. Mr. Andrews has reduced that based on work that they've completed since that time. So that will require a vote on you all's part in terms of adding it to the agenda, and if you choose to do so, we'd like for you to, that would be item 16 at the end of the agenda, and there's a report on your desk. I do have one more announcement, and that is that we have a new Planning Commission member joining us this evening, Brian Clifford. Brian replaces Beth Lothers, who, of course, left the commission when her county commission seat, it corresponded with that. So we're happy to have Brian as the new county commission representative for the Planning Commission, and that's all I have.
Thank you. We have a motion to accept item 16 on the agenda.
So moved.
You can use your vote.
Do we have a second?
Wait for her.
We can't see the screens, but Mr. Lackey made the motion. Is there a second? And please,
I will make the second.
okay, and you used the machine as well, right?
Well, no,
Oh, it didn't allow you to?
popped up to let me vote. We're good.
I show it passed. Item passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess there was.
Okay, I'm sorry. Since this is not available for anyone to see in the audience or who's watching or even like us, you all, so if you're going to make the motion, just like we normally do, just make sure you actually verbally express it in addition to whatever you're doing with the voting machines as well as the second, so that we all kind of all know what's going on. And then I know Mr. Chairman will call for a vote, but we're just going to take some extra steps to make sure everybody is on the same page. So thanks.
Consideration for the minutes for October 13th. Has everybody had a chance to read them? Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve minutes as presented.
Do we have a motion and a second? Everyone vote now. Motion passes. Thank you. The next item, item 2, is the consent agenda. Do any one of the commissioners want to pull any item off? Otherwise, we'll take it as a whole. Do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda as written?
So moved.
Got a motion? Got a motion and a second? Vote now. Motion passes. Thank you. Item 8 is Cox Lad wastewater facility containing 144.84 acres located off of Cox Road in the 5th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant is requesting site plan approval for the expansion of an existing non-traditional wastewater treatment and disposal system in the Rural Development 1 zoning district. The proposed expansion will serve a subdivision that is planned for the property. In order to allow additional time to address staff's comments, the applicant has requested deferral until the December 2022 meeting. Staff concurs with this request.
You have a motion for deferral? You have a motion? You got a second?
Second.
Everyone vote now. Motion carries. Thank you. Preliminary plats. Fair Farm subdivision, large lot easement subdivision containing 5 lots on 42.47 acres located off Spantown Road in the 5th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject parcel is approximately 42 acres in size and is located off Spantown Road, approximately 2/3 of a mile east of Nolansville Road. The applicant is requesting approval of a large lot easement subdivision in order to create 5 lots off a new 50-foot ingress-egress utilities easement. The site contains natural resources requiring protection, including steep slopes, wetlands, and tree canopy. Approximately 55% of the site is under tree canopy. All zoning ordinance requirements, including those regarding the protection of natural resources, have been met. The applicant is proposing individual septic systems for the lots, and the Williamson County Department of Sewage Disposal Management has approved the request. Water will be provided by Nolansville College Grove Utility District. As no fire hydrants are proposed, building envelopes have been separated by 200 feet, and fire sprinklers will be installed in all habitable structures. The preliminary plat is in order, and staff recommends approval subject to the following conditions, which must be addressed in conjunction with final plat submittal. Number 1, a notice of coverage issued by TDEC will be required prior to the signing of the final plat. Number 2, prior to submittal of the final plat, provide a letter from the water provider, either stating the water lines are installed and functioning, or listing a performance bond amount for water improvements. Number 3, a land disturbance permit must be obtained for the overall development. And number 4, prior to submittal of the final plat, driveway and drainage infrastructure must be complete, consistent with zoning ordinance requirements.
The applicant present?
Allison Baldwin with T-Square Engineering, if you have any questions.
On the plans, I see that there are 5 accessory structures. What, I don't know what those are.
So an accessory structure would just be a smaller structure such as a mother-in-law suite, things like that on the property. And so what we've done is we have approved the septic for allowing those accessory structures when these properties develop.
Thank you.
Questions? Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve staff's recommendations.
Motion and seconded. Please vote now. Motion carries. Thank you. By the Meadow subdivision, item 10, large lot easement subdivision containing 5 lots on 32.54 acres located off of Spantown Road in the 5th voting district. Staff, excuse me, staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject parcel is approximately 33 acres in size and is located off Spantown Road, approximately 2/3 of a mile east of Nolensville Road. The applicant is requesting of approval of a large lot easement subdivision in order to create 5 lots off a new 50-foot ingress-egress utilities easement. The site contains natural resources requiring protection, including steep slopes, wetlands, and tree canopy. Approximately 35% of the site is under tree canopy. All zoning ordinance requirements, including those regarding the protection of natural resources, have been met. The applicant is proposing individual septic systems for the lots, and the Williamson County Department of Sewage Disposal Management has approved the request. Water will be provided by Nolensville College Grove Utility District. As no fire hydrants are proposed, building envelopes have been separated by 200 feet, and fire sprinklers will be installed in all habitable structures. The preliminary plat is in order, and staff recommends approval, subject to the following conditions, which must be addressed in conjunction with final plat submittal. Number 1, a notice of coverage issued by TDEC will be required prior to the signing of the final plat. Number 2, prior to submittal of the final plat, provide a letter from the water provider, either stating the water lines are installed and functioning, or listing a performance bond amount for water improvements. Number 3, a land disturbance permit must be obtained for the overall development. And number 4, prior to submittal of the final plat, driveway and drainage infrastructure must be complete, consistent with zoning ordinance requirements.
The applicant present? Back again.
Again.
Any questions, the commission, the staff, or for the applicant? Do we have a motion?
Motion for staff recommendation.
Have a motion and a second. Please vote now. Motion carries. Thank you. Nash Ridge, item 11, Nash Ridge containing 34 lots on 180.25 acres located off of Hillsborough Road in the 8th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A concept plan for this development was approved by this body at the May 2022 meeting, and the applicant is now requesting preliminary plat approval of the development, which contains 34 lots and approximately 146.5 acres of open space. The roads within this development will be private. The plat is consistent in layout with the approved concept plan. Staff recommends approval of the preliminary plat. In conjunction with final plat consideration, the following items must be addressed. Number 1, prior to the issuance of a land disturbance permit, the applicant shall demonstrate that mitigation of the wetland depicted within the detention area has all required state and federal approvals. Number 2, prior to final plat submittal of the first section of the development, off-site roadway improvements to Hillsborough Road, as specified in the review letter from the county's traffic consultant, must be completed to the satisfaction of the Tennessee Department of Transportation. Number 3, prior to final plat submittal of the first section of the development, off-site roadway improvements to Sneed Road, as specified in the review letter from the county's traffic consultant, must be completed to the satisfaction of the county highway superintendent. Number 4, prior to consideration of final plat approval, the applicant shall submit HOA documents which shall also address the requirements of Section 17.12, private streets of the zoning ordinance, for review and approval by the county attorney's office. The HOA documents must be submitted with the final plat, and the approved HOA documents must be recorded concurrently with the recording of the final plat. Number 5, if a security gate is to be installed, a permit will need to be obtained prior to its installation, and all requirements for such gates as outlined in Section 17.11 of the zoning ordinance will need to be met. Number 6, all plant materials reflected on the approved landscaping plan for the reduced open space strip between the proposed lots and the existing rights-of-way of Hillsborough Road, along with any berms, shall be installed prior to the submittal of the applicable final plat in which the open space strip appears. Number 7, establishment of a performance bond for roads, drainage, and erosion control. Number 8, establishment of a performance bond for water improvements in favor of the city of Franklin, if required. Number 9, establishment of a performance bond for sewer improvements in favor of Limestone Water Utility Operating Company, if required. Number 10, submission of landscaping plans and establishment of a performance bond for landscaping. Number 11, execution of performance agreements for the above referenced sureties. Number 12, execution of a stormwater maintenance agreement and submission of an operation and maintenance plan for stormwater improvements. And number 13, submission of the approved final plat in DWG format on recordable media based on the Tennessee State Plan Coordinate System prior to signature and recording of the plat.
Applicant here? Thank you. Any questions of staff or of the applicant?
Yes, I have a question on intersection study review. It says the counts were conducted on a typical weekday in December. Was it, surely it was just more than one day that the traffic study was conducted?
I'm not certain.
Okay. Okay.
I have a couple of questions. So I'm assuming from what I'm reading, what we're reading here is that this will be on sewer and not on septic. Is that correct? Okay. And do we know how many sections or phases this will be built out in?
I'm not certain how it will be phased out, whether it will be built all in one section, one at one time, or what. Mark Merrill can answer this
Mark
question.
Merrill with Reagan Smith.
Okay, I wondered about that. And then also, I noticed on the plat, that there's a couple of spots in there that say Serenity Trust. What does that mean?
Serenity Trust is the entity of the name of the property owner.
Oh, okay,
Trust that owns the property.
okay, thank you.
Questions? Do we have a motion? A motion and a second. Please prepare to vote and vote now. Motion passes. Thank you. Item 12, the Burgundy 2 large easement subdivision containing 2 lots on 10 acres located off of Wilson Pike in the 4th voting district. Staff?
Chairman, the subject property is approximately 10 acres in size and is located off Wilson Pike, approximately 1/4 mile east of North Chapel Road. The applicant is requesting approval of a large lot easement subdivision in order to create the second and third lots off an existing 50-foot ingress-egress utilities easement. At this time, the applicant is requesting deferral to the December 2022 Planning Commission meeting to allow the applicant more time to address staff comments. Staff concurs with this request. Thanks.
Have a motion for deferral? Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Prepare to vote. Vote now. Motion passes. Thank you. Final plats. Item 13, Starkney Creek, Section 1, containing 18 lots on 75.61 acres located off Meeks Road in the 5th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am reading from the revised report that you have on your desks. A preliminary plat covering this section of the development was approved at the July 2022 meeting. The applicant is now requesting final plat approval of the first section of the development, which contains 23 lots, approximately 57.5 acres of open space, and the treatment and the disposal and storage areas for the wastewater treatment system. The plat is consistent in layout with that depicted on the preliminary plat. All required off-site roadway improvements have been completed. Staff recommends approval of the final plat with the following conditions. Number 1, the approved HOA documents must be recorded concurrently with the recording of the final plat. Number 2, establishment of a performance bond for roads, drainage, and erosion control in the amount of $1,200,000. This is a reduced amount based on work completed. Number 3, establishment of a maintenance bond for water improvements in favor of Millcrofton Utility District in the amount of $140,700. Number 4, per the recommendation of the county's wastewater consultant, establishment of a performance bond for the wastewater collection system in the amount of $100,000. Number 5, establishment of a performance bond for landscaping in the amount of $46,000. Number 6, execution of performance agreements for the above referenced sureties. Number 7, execution of a stormwater maintenance agreement and submission of an operation and maintenance plan for stormwater improvements. And number 8, submission of the approved final plat in DWG format based on recordable media based on the Tennessee State Plan Coordinate System prior to signature and recording of the plat.
Applicant present?
Mason, Stearns Creek.
Have any questions of applicant or of staff? The only change that we had from the original one we had was item 2. Is that correct? Just
That is correct, yes.
have a motion? Have a motion? We have a second? Prepare to vote. Vote now. Passes. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Item 14 on the final plats is Daventry Section 4, reapproval containing 9 lots on 12.33 acres located off of Tullis Road in the 4th voting district. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A final plat for this section was approved at the September 2021 meeting. All of the required bonds have not been posted, and as such, the approval of the final plat has expired. The applicant is now requesting reapproval of the final plat for the 4th section of the development, which contains 9 lots and approximately 8 acres of open space. The plat remains consistent in the layout with that depicted on the preliminary plat. Staff recommends approval of the final plat with the following conditions. Number 1, the approved HOA documents shall be concurrently recorded with the recording of the final plat. Number 2, posting of a performance bond in the amount of $325,000 for roads, drainage, and erosion control. This is a reduced amount based on work completed. Number 3, posting of a performance bond in the amount of $65,000 for water improvements as specified by Nolensville College Grove Utility District. Number 4, posting of a performance bond in the amount of $20,250 for the wastewater collection system. Number 5, the posting of a performance bond in the amount of $29,700 for landscaping improvements. Number 6, execution of performance agreements for the above referenced sureties. Number 7, at 80% build-out or as directed by the county highway superintendent, Chase Point Drive will be open to the adjacent subdivision. Number 8, execution of a stormwater maintenance agreement and submission of an operation and maintenance plan for stormwater improvements. And number 9, that the applicant provide 2 copies of the approved final plat in DWG format on recordable media based on the Tennessee State Plan Coordinate System prior to signature and recording of the plat.
Applicant present?
Richard Howes with SEC.
Questions of the applicant or staff on this item? Ms. Rose?
Regarding point number 7, that Chase Point Drive would be open to the adjacent subdivision. That is Bell Chase Farms. Am I correct about that? Thank you.
Have a motion on this item? Have a motion and a second. Prepare to vote. Vote now. Motion passes. Thank you. Under other business, item 15, the 2023 Planning Commission schedule. Has everyone had a copy of it and able to look at it? Any questions of staff on this item? We have a motion.
Move to approve it.
Have a motion, have a second? Second. Have a motion and a second, prepare to vote. Vote now. Motion passes, thank you. The item 16 is the added item we have. It's final plat review for reapproval for Bonner Terrace subdivision containing 37 lots on 97.82 acres located off of Meeks Road in the 5th voting district. Staff?
Sir, a final plat for this subdivision was approved at the August 2022 meeting. However, the plat was not recorded, and the applicant is requesting that the plat be reapproved with a revised bond amount for roads, drainage, and erosion control based upon work completed to date. Staff recommends reapproval with the following conditions. 1, the approved HOA documents must be recorded concurrently with the recording of the final plat. 2, the posting of a performance bond for roads, drainage, and erosion control in the amount of $1,250,000. This amount is based upon work completed to date. 3, the posting of a performance bond for water improvements in favor of Millcrofton Utility District in the amount of $810,590. 4, per the recommendation of the county's wastewater consultant, the posting of a performance bond for the wastewater collection system in the amount of $160,700. 5, the posting of a performance bond for landscaping improvements in the amount of $474,837. 6, execution of performance agreements for the above referenced sureties. 7, execution of a stormwater maintenance agreement and submission of an operation and maintenance plan for stormwater improvements. And 8, submission of the approved final plat in DWG format on recordable media based on the Tennessee State Plan Coordinate System prior to signature and recording of the plat.
Thank you. Is the applicant present?
Turner, T-Square Engineering.
Question of the applicant or of staff? Do we have a motion?
Motion to reapprove for
Thank you.
staff's recommendations. Second.
Motion and a second, prepare to vote. Vote now. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Is there any other business before the commission tonight? Motion to adjourn? Thank you. Have a great evening.